Everybody, last week the Constitutional Court reserved judgment on an application to confirm that the sections of the amended Sexual Offences Act that criminalise consensual sexual activities between certain children are unconstitutional. And we'll be talking to Shaheda Omar from the Teddy Bear Clinic about this in just a few minutes. But first, let's listen to what people on the street think about punishing youngsters for sexual activities.
Always caught in that act should be criminalise.
I don't know how effective it's going to be. I think educating children on issues like AIDS and premarital sex and don't be promiscuous and that kind of thing would be much more valuable than making it illegal.
I think it is going to be effective because nowadays kids are very fast forward in terms of the television as well, what they see on the screens. I think it's what that encourages them to do what they do. So I think it's best that it is considered as crime.
Well, it does seem harsh, but I think it's a good thing to be put into place for the safety of our children, because you don't know what goes on out there. So yeah, I think it's really good.
It's fair. So yes, you should be put in jail for such things.
Because some other children can have crushes and stuff, but I think it's also good because like some other children can take it too far.
Okay, so we've got very differing views from the public out there. Shaheda, welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you.
Just tell us your standpoint now. What exactly would you like to see done?
Well, we would like to see the sections 15 and 16 decriminalised to ensure that children are not violated. Children's interests are of the paramount importance. And I think we want to prevent children from facing prosecution and being violated and subjected to secondary victimization and trauma.
Yeah. So if we read it, sections 15 and 16 of the Sexual Offences Act require that two children between the ages of 12 and 16 who engage in consensual sexual acts must both be prosecuted together. Where do you find in there that this will be open to abuse?
Where it could be open to abuse, because if you find that a person above the age of 16 is engaging in consensual sexual activity with a person of 14 or 15, the person that is 18 or 19 would face prosecution, and then the younger person would not face prosecution. So there is an anomaly, there's inconsistencies, and this piece of legislation is flawed. And I think that is what needs to also be taken cognizance of.
Yeah. So, okay, so it's flawed. So you want it amended. This is what you're fighting for right now.
We want it amended. We want to advance the rights of children. We want to protect children. We want to promote their best interests so that they are not subjected to humiliation, stigmatization, ridicule, and trauma. We have had children who have gone through this process who have been subjected to enormous trauma and have suffered as a result thereof.
Yeah. Is this not perhaps put in place to try and protect our children, to protect them from adults that are trying to take advantage?
Indeed, and at no stage are we condoning that to allow adult on child sexual victimization, nor are we arguing the decriminalization of sexual violence between children or non-consensual sexual activity between children. We are focusing specifically on the consensual sexual activity between children, and we certainly believe that such punitive measures are not the only way to deter children from engaging in sexual behavior.
Yeah. How does this deter your work? Having something like this in place, how hard does it make you, especially with victims of rape?
Well, it makes it very hard because we are faced with more and more children who are subjected to trauma, and these children require intensive support. These children are facing, as I mentioned, stigmatization, and children are engaging in more risky behavior. They're going underground and are not accessing resources, more specifically with regard to making informed decisions around sexual behavior, not making positive choices, which results in increased unwanted pregnancies, increased incidence of HIV, STDs, and children are engaging in risky behavior, which is of grave concern to us.
Yeah, yeah. So if we look at it, and we'll just give an example, there's a party on a Saturday night, police arrive at this party, there are two 15-year-olds that are engaging, let's not even say they're not having sex, they're just hugging and kissing. Now, this is a crime.
This would indeed constitute a criminal offence, and both children would be subjected to prosecution. They would have to go through the whole criminal justice system, where they would be subjected to interrogation and questioning by the police and having to face the court. So it's taking children through that process, which would be violating the rights of children.
Yeah, I mean, it's to police something like that, you know, that is my concern. I mean, does this exist in other countries, a law like this?
No, certainly not.
Are we one of the only countries? Are we the only country that has something like this in place?
That is correct, yes.
Where did this come from?
I think the intention was noble, to protect children, but I think it came from Parliament and policymakers who did not consult widely, and certainly not with the children who are the recipients of this piece of legislation. So it required more wider consultation with both civil society and all other stakeholders and role players, and this needs to be addressed urgently.
Just very quickly, Shaheda, where to from here? What are you going to do?
Well, we wait to hear the judgment. We are very positive, we are optimistic that the judges will make the right decision to ensure that the best needs of children are met and promoted.
All right. Let's leave it there. Shaheda Omar from the Teddy Bear Clinic, treating abused children. Thank you very much for talking to us. We still love to hear from you. I'm sure there's lots of comments. I'll take a look at social media when I have a moment, just to see what South Africans are saying out there.